Shed, S-H-E-D.
Okay. All right. In three, two, one.
Happy New Year!
All right. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to 2026. We are back with Rose Youth Radio, and we're trying to get back to where we were, but we're starting off from scratch this time. There's definitely been a lot of changes, and we're just getting back
Yeah,
balanced.
changes. Yes, balance. I see you trying to balance this cane. You want to share with the people, share with the audience what you've been doing?
Not
With
at
the whole
this. Not
entire
at
thing?
this
I
time.
mean,
Not at this
can
time.
okay.
Not at
I
this
mean, I know
time.
there's some canes with Christmas, which you just passed, but okay. But we're going to leave that alone. Red and white. Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right, so basically we're going to start from scratch and we're trying to go in a different direction. And there's been a number of things that have halted this situation. We've both been through some challenges, but at this time we're trying to create the change that needs to be made for 2026 and kind of shed a little bit more light on the education space, and then also with creating the resources that we need for youth in this society.
Yep, the process, the different processes that we've gone through that are going to bring progress. See
It's
what
been
we
a
did there? Process and progress. Ooh.
All right, so we're going to start off, and the title of this is going to be From Chalkboards to Clicks, Old School Roots and New School Roads. And basically what that means is we have to set the stage. 2025 was a very challenging year. Put that on silent. And a lot of us needed some time to take a breather and regroup and get things back in order. As we said before,
Were we breathing?
progress and process.
Well, we were breathing because we actually survived it, but take a breather, I mean,
Yeah,
no,
but
we
it
might
was
have
a
been,
hold your breath moment. Trust me.
oxygen, yes. We were learning how to breathe. There could be a poem in that. So, yeah. I heard that.
We'll work on that one then.
Yep.
All right, so we're basically going to be setting the stage for something that's going to go in a different direction. And I'll just start off with saying from some of my notes here that I wrote. So before tablets, smart boards, and online classrooms, there was chalk dust, heavy textbooks, and the sound of pages turning. Learning was simple, but not always easy. Today, education looks different. Screens replace chalkboards. Information is instant, and you can receive things from your favorite app, ChatGTP.
We're not going to address that now.
Oh, yes, we will.
We'll address it to a point, but so I got a lot of opinions on that.
Yeah. So basically, with all these choices, we are really learning. Are we really learning better or just faster?
Neither.
What?
Neither. We're not learning better or faster. Case in point, all y'all who lean heavily on spell check but still can't spell, because you not see how certain things go with that, you ain't learn faster or better with that. And that's my grief of I think with Chat GPT, I mean, I am learning some things, whereas if I Google and there's AI and what may explain, sometimes if you know what you're looking for, I mean, it's just like whatever tool, like it can be helpful. But however, I'm not going to name the person which I helped write for. I was assigned as an editor a few years back. It was a little bit more than a decade back. And AI wasn't invented. But when the person got lazy and wasn't writing, and he could have got caught with plagiarizing because I was like, I wasn't being compensated accordingly. Still, a lot of folks basically Chat GPT is becoming that for a lot of people. People are plagiarizing, and even though I've not been a professor as of yet, but I've worked with college students and such. But people are getting better trained, to where some of the arts education that I do, whatever the case is, that if you are really looking at papers, are people really writing, or are people just taking something from? I have experienced it a little bit, to whereas if I saw some students, and this was probably the precursors to ChatGPT, when you realize two people wrote the exact same thing, which I mean, as what was in the prelude, sometimes people copy from books, but that can be easily traced. But AI can still be easily traced, but still, you try to see with folks, is this your voice? Do you know this, or did you just copy and paste? So again, sometimes it's not learning faster or better. People just need to learn how to apply the tools. That's an acronym. That's a fair assessment. Apply the tools better. Whereas I don't feel like that they do that in this faster tech thing. Because I mean, they did get caught before when they were taking stuff out of textbooks, but I think it's a little bit, that temptation's a little bit more now since everything's digital.
Correct. So, for many families, homeschool has been the option. I'm not against it. It's something that I was talking about years back, and it's because of all of the issues and the distractions that are in the school, in the classroom, or within the child, itself. And there's a number of things that could be the problem or the underlying root cause, but we'll get back to that one.
I mean, but homeschool is, I feel like, if you have a good network, it's a great tool. It's a great opportunity you can enrich. Now, if like the group, if the person applying the homeschooling isn't doing their due diligence, then it can be problematic. Because I mean, obviously, the rich, like as far as people who tour and entertain or whatever the case is, and they have their kids, they might do the homeschooling stuff there. There are some things with kids who might be hospitalized or long term. Overall, it's a better choice. But still, there's some things of if the application's not right and they're just kind of passing through, like some of them in general public schools or certain areas, that can be a problem. So, but we can probably do a deeper dive in another video, but still. But I feel like that could be a good option. Or as we get some of the guests for 2026, because we've had some great guests in the past, maybe somebody can shed some more light on the pros and cons with that.
Oh, we got a number of people lined up. So I think that the only issue is that it's like in the past where I couldn't even really get a deep dive into what the issues were, because I've had friends that could say certain things behind the scenes but can't say it in front of a camera or in public or whatever. But my thing is, there's issues that are coming and stemming from home that are not being addressed and then pushed into the school, and the school can't save everybody. School can't do everything, because first of all, I feel at this point and in this generation, it has really become like a babysitting situation, because you have an educator who, I really don't like to say teachers, I say educators. You have them in a space where they're dealing with behavioral problems, they're dealing with issues that are coming from home, that are coming into the classroom. Then you got other distractions. You got some kids who just don't want or don't like school at all, and it's something that they have to do, and a place that they have to go during the day. And some parents are happy to just drop them off, go, and don't really care what happens. But this year is going to be a growth year, and we need not only our network between the DMV, and those beyond, but we also need resources and spaces that we don't never really discuss. Because one thing that I've had challenges with before is the autism spectrum, and I have a godson that has autism, so it's been a challenge with going to the schools and figuring out what works, what doesn't work, IEPs or whatever the case may be. And then I see so many mothers online struggling with autism, and I see some of my childhood friends who have children in that space, and the mothers who don't know what to do in certain situations. So this 2025, I've been more observant than really just trying to attack things and trying to figure stuff out. But this year, I really want for both of us to have a growth situation, not only with the network, but also with those in many spaces that we really never even talk about because it is something that is become a large situation and nobody really knows what to do. But you see a band of mostly young mothers who are dealing with kids that are on the spectrum and they don't know how to act, how to react, what resources to go to and stuff like that. So I've pinpointed certain things and I've looked at, many other social media pages and my DMV accent coming out. I'll say social media.
Oh, I wasn't even catching that. I mean, there's certain
You
things.
didn't catch it, but I
Right,
caught
right.
it.
No, I mean, no,
I caught it real quick.
no, I understand that. I think the main thing is we just feel like trying to get back to it takes a village, and that's largely what it is because you have IEPs and some things they learn with that. You gotta watch what the parent enables. You gotta watch what the school enables. And some of the things, whereas if you have a hands-on parent or a hands-on village for a child that's on the spectrum, they may know what to do for if the school lets the kid get away with a certain amount of stuff, or I've worked in certain situations that if there is something with the general pop or whatever, that some of the kids can be, I don't want to use the word infested, but negatively influenced to do particular things. But conversely, if you know the population, then you can work with them accordingly. Or for a thing of some populations, I'll say this goes into, as what you said, educators, culturally competent, because we can deal with our melanated babies and some of the things scientifically maybe from the spectrum is, but I noticed with the thing of like, especially when you talk about, I don't want to get into the semantics of differently able, but still spectrum, there's people on different things. It's not one size fits all for everybody. But still with that, how you take that attention so they can maximize their learning experience there versus that if they're not getting to it or if it's very cookie cutter, then people can kind of get left behind versus that you're trying to challenge them. Or some people who get put on the spectrum, maybe there are Asperger's or there are different types of brilliance or whatever the case is, but still, if you look at Jawanza Kunjufu, I think I'm saying that correctly, but still for the fact of like, with the different things of education that some of our kids get are very active and they need, or they get done with stuff and then they get bored. And because they get in trouble, then they get put boxed in like with that. So it's just like, we really have to be hands-on, know the village, know certain things, know the landscape with that, and find a way so that they can maximize the experience versus if they have friends or maybe they don't have friends, and because they don't have friends, they do stuff to act out to try to get friends or whatever the case is, and still like, a lot of these things, as I think we realize in adults, that when you have certain influences or that is trying, a lot of these things compound versus that you try to put those right positive influences in place. And with that, then that can compound in the right direction versus adversely in the other direction because we're not catching something when we could. Yeah. And then we go down a few months later. Partially that's been a precursor of COVID. When you realize some of our kids could have been on grade level or possibly below grade level. And then I worked in a middle school, like as we were coming on the other side of COVID, and some of these kids that are supposed to be middle school were like on second grade level. And that was because they were like, work going from home from like, 1 to 2 years. And there wasn't that accountability to challenge their brains when they were on there. Because, I think we talk a little, we're getting a little bit ahead.
Yeah, but it was...
technology, like, they talk about technology, but they still got the iPhones.
But a lot of things were swept under the rug, and it was pretty much, it exposed a lot of things. It exposed things that basically I had been working with, for years and trying to find solutions that pretty much all doors or no doors were open. during that time frame. But I think that parents really saw during COVID what the issues were, but then it was like they cared, and then once everything was over, they didn't care anymore. And I think that's the biggest issue, because now educators don't even have the support that they need, because nobody shows up to PTA meetings, nobody checks on a child. Well,
No, I want to throw something down. Y'all
Well-
know what I was grabbing because y'all can't see on the camera so much.
but no, like the old school way of education was built on basically a structure, discipline, and repetition. And I think that this day and age, it needs to be on a larger scale. School needs to be totally different, because you're looking at this generation now. We were always told to be on time, to go to work, do X, Y, and Z. But now there is a number of, ways or opportunities to create your own, revenue and build your own career for success, or whatever the case may be. But, you listened, you memorized, you did all these things, you got the basics. But then, like, I feel like once I graduated high school, it's kind of like a unlearn and relearn situation, because when I went to college, it was totally different.
You went through, I'm putting you out there a little bit, but you went through different stages of college, and nothing wrong with that.
I did.
I
did traditional and non-traditional and hybrid, online, all
you
of
got
that.
the degree, praise the Lord with that, but still, even for those who don't, yes, there is a thing of with people where we're peers, but still there's a gap in our age, but still for like learn and unlearn. But the problem is you got, because repetition is still important, as long as you know that it's the right stuff. Because again, part of my pet peeves, even though some people brush it under, it's like I said, I took time to spell. And when I see certain folks who don't, or like with whoever, it can be aggravating with that. Or people who are very pompous and cavalier, but they're not doing what they gotta do in order to get to where they need to get to. So it's just like, or they may have gotten there, and it's like, I can't spell or like or mathematically, and like especially folks are entrepreneurially, but you can't really do budgets and math. What? But still, like with that, so all those are things. So repetition. To a point of even when I was working this past summer in Baltimore, working with some kids. They're third going to fourth grade, and or I'm slightly rabbit holing, but it still goes with it. I was disappointed from third to fourth grade.